On your left, both these players 11 and 3. Slivers versus Abzan. Bowman has been impressive every time we've watched him so far. We'll see if he's on the play. He is. Now the question is, does he have the vial? I think he does, because he always has the vial. Oh, it's just a Gale Rider Sliver. He's going to play a little more honest now.
Not quite the same opening we're looking for here, but that's okay.
Here's a Birds of Paradise. Dueling Flyers.
Flying Man versus Birds of Paradise. Magic has a rich history with these two squaring off.
Classic. Overgrown Tomb, the land that Negri will search up. Bowman, of course, naming Slivers with his Cavern of Souls. He'll start by attacking for 1. Let's see what the follow-up's going to be. Looks like it's going to be a Diffusion Sliver, or as you like to call it, Frost Titan Sliver.
This is Frost Titan Sliver.
Yeah.
Very good in this matchup against Negri's removal spells.
A Plains and Lingering Souls. Now that's very good in this matchup. Flyers can be problematic. Spirit's on the way here for Kazu. Bowman's going to need some of those Muscle Sliver-esque effects now. Predatory Sliver and friends.
And he may need several of them. The issue here is that he may not be able to trade either one of the slivers he currently has in play with 2 Lingering Souls tokens in the event that he has one of his lords. If he loses Diffusion Sliver, he can be picked apart by removal spells. If he loses his Gale Rider Sliver, suddenly cards like Lockstone Smiter and Siege Rhino become problematic. So this may require several turns of development for Bowman to be able to push past these Lingering Souls tokens.
Another Cavern of Souls, and now here's Necrotic Sliver. Kazu Negri will take a look. It's the Vindicate Sliver. And it is a pretty gosh darn good one once it's online.
Yeah. It's one of the powerhouses of the deck for sure.
And Bowman will pass the turn back. No real good attacks to be had here. So Negri's just going to have to try to overpower him a little bit because removal is not going to be particularly good against Adam. Oh, a card that can overpower is Siege Rhino. Here come the Spirits, and yeah, Kazu.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Everyone's been learning the hard way against Adam.
See, slivers, they give all of their powers to other slivers.
Correct.
So Gale Rider Sliver is not just a 1/1 flyer for 1, already a good deal, but it gives flying to all of your other slivers, including the 2/2 Necrotic Sliver.
That's correct.
So you got to hold back.
You got to slow down those Spirit Beats. So let's see what's next here for Adam. He's got that Sedge Sliver, but just no black mana yet.
I'll say this. I appreciate the need for Abrupt Decay in this deck and the format in general, but whoa, is it hard for Adam's deck to cast.
It's difficult. It's difficult. Doesn't have a lot of lands to do it, so he's really got to draw Mana Weft Sliver to be able to do it. It's tough.
Yeah. All right, you have Abrupt Decay. What color of mana do your 3 lands in play tap for? They all tap for colorless.
Yeah. Nobody said it would be easy.
No.
Haha. Now it's easy.
All right, never mind.
There's Mana Weft. He actually just kind of go off now.
Online. Yeah, Mana Weft plus Necrotic Sliver is a thing that has come up also.
What's next here? Sedge.
Still waiting for a swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Got time.
Gonna take a look at Sedge.
That's Sedge Troll Sliver. It gives Sedge Troll to all of your slivers.
No, most people don't know what Sedge Troll is, Patrick.
It's from Alpha, the greatest set of all time.
Go on.
Boom.
They're great artwork.
Well, this is one of the very few creatures in Alpha that is not an embarrassing deal by modern standards.
That's true. That's true.
Like, if this was an uncommon in draft, you take it kind of high.
I can't argue with you.
As opposed to most creatures in Alpha, which are embarrassing.
Horrible.
Birds of Paradise is held up. Sedge Troll kind of holds up. There's a few others.
We'll see how Kazu wants to try to work his way through this, because Lingering Souls is going to be difficult to attack, though Township will help.
Yep. And now the problem is he may have to just stop right here and Abrupt Decay the Necrotic Sliver, which is his whole turn.
Yep.
But once that's online, forget about it. Although he actually can't, because the Necrotic Sliver can make black mana to regenerate from the Sedge Troll.
Well, can he regenerate when he has no... Swamp only gives +1/+1.
Right.
Aha.
So first of all, you need to pay 2 more for the Diffusion Sliver, I believe.
Yeah, you're gonna need 2 more for that. Okay.
I don't know if Diffusion Sliver is I would assume it's not a trigger.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not sure how that would play out.
Okay. Oh, excuse me, Diffusion Sliver counters. Okay.
Abrupt Decay trumps it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, countered.
Counter target spell or ability. Nope.
We saw this with Kira as well.
Yes, we did. Okay, there we go. See, problem solved.
Excuse me.
So Adam's got a predatory sliver now.
And I think the Sedge Troll, you need to have a swamp to unlock the regenerate power.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Sedge sliver.
Yeah, okay.
So
yeah,
there
you need to have a... Yep. This is what happens when you try to make slivers based on alpha designs, which was very popular to do in Time Spiral. Some of the cards are worded a little bit odd. So he needs to actually be in the swamp to be able to regenerate, which I suppose...
Let's take, okay, so all slivers have, this creature gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp. And regenerate target creature, so you can regenerate it. So +1/+1 only if you get a swamp, but you can always regenerate it. You don't need a swamp to do that. Okay.
Okay.
Slivers are confusing.
As the Sedge Troll. Sort of.
Sort of. Kind of, maybe. Adam will draw. What other slivers can we find here? No more abrupt decays, Adam.
In backup feature match, Jeff Hoagland already defeated 2-0, so his outside chance of making the top 8 at X and 3.
Yeah, took him down quick.
Yeah.
Jonathan Bone did. Did not mess around.
Now, the real piece of the puzzle that Bowman is missing right now is Sliver Hive, because with that going in a sufficient mana, that and Necrotic Sliver becomes very, very potent.
Yeah.
Less so now that he no longer has the Mana Left Sliver.
Because then he can really go off. Kind of analyzing the board. Township is going to cause some real trouble here.
Yes.
There's another predatory, so the slivers are getting larger.
Although this is possible, it is possible that this sort of setup can overwhelm Negri here. Because as long as Gale Rider Sliver stays in play, the only thing that Bowman has to worry about are the Lingering Souls tokens. And he can make his slivers large enough to start punching through that.
Siege Rhino, Voice of Resurgence, and now Wiltleaf Legion hand. Wiltleaf Legion will make those spirits even bigger. We're going to get into what I feel is going to be a pretty complicated board state here, actually.
Yes, this is bogging down. The thing is, with Diffusion Sliver available, it requires a pretty significant investment from Negri to use his removal spells, so Bowman can kind of play it face up. If I was in his position, I would basically be playing around what's on the table, the Lingering Souls tokens and the Gavany Township.
Yeah, Kazu is... This is a fun little puzzle to navigate here. I think it'll be Wiltleaf. Okay.
I'm not a big fan of Wiltleaf in this spot. I guess the logic is, well, it's the same thing as using Gavany Township. It pumps the tokens that are in play. The problem is that Adam has Necrotic Sliver in play. And so in general, I think he's better served just sitting behind Township and using that, because that's harder to break up with Necrotic Sliver.
Looks like we're going to have some beatdowns with Voice Resurgence and Kitchen Finks. Those will get double pumped from Wiltleaf Legion. So those are some pretty big creatures. Right now, the Finks is a 6-power creature, and Voice Resurgence is a 5-power creature.
And I think this just has to be no blocks. Adam needs to keep his board intact here to be able to beat the 4 Lingering Souls tokens. So even if he takes a big hit, I think he just has to do that.
I think he's going to take that big hit.
Yep.
Follow-up could be another voice here for Kazu.
He may just want to leave the Birds of Paradise back on defense.
Looks like he will just pass. Bowman going to draw. I think he picked up a land. You know about Abrupt Decay, but it's so hard for him to cast. There's Windswept Heath. Another one of our backup feature matches. Alex Hahn does defeat Chris Anderson. So Chris Anderson came in today at 9-0, looking at top 8. Just lost his match playing for it.
So what's critical here about the Windswept Heath, doesn't look like much, but that allows him to find Overgrown Tomb. He then has a swamp.
Aha.
So it's another lord through the Sedge Sliver.
So that'll pump up the team.
And Sentinel Sliver now, that's combo. Little offense, defense.
True.
Both sides of the ball, and so forth.
We know how we love that.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody's considering a little attack step here.
Well, the problem that I have with an attack here, you cannot get the Gale Rider Sliver involved. I guess if you're willing to regenerate that one in lieu of some of your other ones, I guess that's okay. But if Gale Rider Sliver leaves play, suddenly whatever Kitchen thinks, the Whitley leaves, Voice of Resurgence, Siege Rhinos, it's so hard to slog through. I feel like Bowman can't afford to lose it.
Well, Gale Rider Sliver is not ever really going to die, right?
Well, the problem is that, so the more that you commit to the attack, the more that Kazu can potentially spread his blocks and start picking away other stuff. Because let's imagine you have to commit to leaving Gale Rider Sliver alive. That means suddenly he can start putting some blocks together on your Predatory Sliver, your Diffusion Sliver, your Necrotic Sliver, because you only have one black mana right now.
Yep.
And then you start losing all of your Lords.
Okay. Well, I guess
it's a risk. Adam also needs to start attacking, so maybe this Alpha Strike is fine.
He can also. I think part of the reason that Adam is making this attack is I think he's trying to work Kazu into a mistake.
That's part of. I mean, it's with the ability to now regenerate and get a swamp, the blocks become a lot more challenging.
I think that's what we're going to see here. Is I'm going to try to work you into making an error that you might not even realize that you're making. See, because it looks like there's only one block.
I mean, if Adam fetches for a swamp here,
is that potentially lethal?
Well, he's got 3 Lords now in play.
I think he just killed him.
Yeah, that's just it. Okay.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration. Adam Bowman's going to win game number 1 here over Kazu Negri.
Glasses are coming off.
That misblock where he didn't realize he could get a swamp pump his entire team.
Not sure if he didn't know what Setch Sliver did. Not sure if he thought Adam maybe couldn't fetch a swamp off of that Windswept. Whatever the case may be, Negri needed to put together at least one more block there, failed to do so, and Negri suddenly down a game that looked really, really good for him.
You can see kind of how difficult it is to play against this deck if you've never played against it before, right? No, I mean, who's tested against Slivers coming in this tournament? Who even knows what half of these cards even do?
Yep, and we've had Bowman have surprised collected companies by vialing out Mana Weft Sliver. Gale Rider Sliver punked Chris Anderson in game 1 when it allowed something to block a Vault Scourge out of nowhere. Adam's opponents, even when they have been playing well, have been caught off guard by some of the stuff that's been going on.
Well, to the sideboards we're going to go. For Negri, he's going to have to regain himself a little bit here. He's got 4 Thoughtseizes, 3 Leyline of the Voids, 2 Dark Blast, 2 Choke, a Fracturing Gust, a Maelstrom Pulse, Sorin Silent Visitor, and a Spellskite.
I think the 2 copies of Dark Blast are okay here because the 1-toughness slivers that Adam has access to are very, very important. Gale Rider Sliver and Diffusion Sliver. Beyond that, I think that Maelstrom Pulse and Thoughtseize are both okay, but there's no real standouts here in Negri's sideboard.
What do we have for the Sliver Mage?
2 Boneside Sliver, 2 Siphon Sliver, 2 Telekinetic Sliver, 2 Abrupt Decay, a Dark Hard Sliver, 3 Harmonic Slivers, 2 Sliver Hive Lords, and a Shadow Sliver. Every time I've guessed on what slivers are coming in, I've just been wrong. So I do not think that Bowman wants to go up to a lot of Abrupt Decays. I know there are targets in Negri's deck, but none of them are that critical.
Sure.
I think that a little bit of removal is fine, but he can easily have too much of it. I think Sliver Hive Lord is reasonable for this matchup. We've seen Bowman go up to 5 pretty easily. Some of Negri's removal is going to be, targeted, destroy target creature type of removal. He could be bringing in sweepers like Damnation. So I think the Hive Lords are okay. I know Negri has Path to Exile, but, I think the upside's still worth it.
I think the game will go long enough where it's a good option.
Exactly.
We just saw a game that went pretty long there. So good options here for both players. Kazu Negri will be on the play. He's playing for top 8, and definitely a frustrating loss there for him. We'll see if he can regain his composure and get ready here for game number 2. But Battle of Zendikar pre-release is what we're going to talk about right now. Star City Games, September 26th and the 27th. Head on down to Roanoke. You can get the Battle for Zendikar playmat.
Exactly. Now, this is available only if you go to the Star City Games physical store in Roanoke, Virginia, and play in the pre-release. September 26th and 27th, you can pre-register right now at starcitygames.com/pre-release. You can't make it out to Virginia, but you still want to get your hands on the playmat. Whatever is left over from the pre-release will go up on the website that Monday, the 28th, but there will not be very many of them. So if you want to get your hands on this playmat, either head over to Star City Games in Roanoke, Virginia, the 26th, 27th, pre-register right now, or be on the website Monday morning trying to snag one of the few remaining playmats.
It's kind of like first dibs.
Right.
First dibs go to the people who are going to play in the pre-release. Then the leftovers, they go to you at home. Get on the website early because they go away pretty fast. And yeah, I think of when we come to these events, we rarely see those pre-release playmats.
Yeah,
They're hard to get.
We see them every now and again, but I would say it's less than one a show.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Kazu Negri, Adam Bowman, battling it out here. Negri will be on the play here. Both these players playing for top 8. We just had Chris Anderson lose. Jeff Hoagland, he's down 2. And that's actually, pretty important. That's 2 players who are not going to make top 8 now. Players with buys that are getting eliminated as well. The only person that we know who's in top 8 for sure is Todd Anderson. Even Eric Hawkins, 4th place coming in the round, he has to play.
Yeah, great tournament for him, but given the size of the tournament, how many people were in day 2, still work left to be done.
We want more slivers all the time.
Surprise Sedge Sliver.
Surprise pump. There are more surprises coming from Adam, trust me.
When you play with Sedge Troll and Alpha, you never got to surprise anyone. No lands come to play at instant speed. Your opponent either had a swamp or they had a bad lands, or whatever.
There are no surprises.
No surprises. No fetching for a black land. Suddenly turn it on.
You sound bitter.
No, it's just Sedge Troll has gotten better with Windswept Heath and Friends being legal.
That's true.
There was a time early on in the history of Legacy where Sedge Troll was a card that people played with.
Both players going to keep their openings hands here. Negri's going to sacrifice Verdant Catacomb, search up a land. Looks like he's going to go down to 19. Bowman with an Aether Vial to start off a Sliver Hive. Your knowledge of Sedge Troll's history, unbelievable.
Played with it a lot myself back in the day.
Like giving the beatdowns?
Like giving the beatdowns. Like playing red-black decks.
That hasn't changed much. Still think you're into that.
Yeah.
Yep, there he is. Got the art right on that.
Yep.
I'll say that much. When I think of a troll, that's truly what I'm thinking of.
Thing probably smells bad, up to no good.
Yeah. Abrupt Decay would be a good idea. Yeah, get that thing gone if you're Kazu.
And Adam might be on one of these land light but vile hands, though it looks like he has drawn land number 2.
He'll play Predatory Sliver.
Love the lead out too.
Yeah, Dark Blast was the draw.
Perfect. I think a lot of people would have just played the Mana Weft Sliver, but this is better because you can play the Mana Weft Sliver next turn, makes the same amount of mana, and you get to set up your Lords first.
There's a Smiter. Time for Mana Weft.
Yeah.
And now Gale Rider.
Yeah.
They're setting it up.
Dark Blast, no good.
And he's going to need another black mana for Dark Blast to be good. Draw a card. Nope.
Or a removal spell for the Predatory Sliver. That would also do it.
That would also work.
But he could have gone upkeep, Dark Blast, dredge, Dark Blast again, if he had a second black source of mana, but he does not.
Here comes Smiter. An honest attack.
Yep.
From an honest elephant. Now here's a dishonest rhino.
I have a feeling this draw from Negri without help is not going to be good enough.
I don't think it'll be good enough either. And this is a good start, don't get me wrong. Removal spell, kill your Vial into a 4/4 and 4/5.
Negri's deck doesn't get openings much more explosive than this. Drew one of his sideboard cards too in Dark Blast.
Sentinel Sliver.
Oh, combo with so many of the slivers in play.
Yeah, they are
good
flying.
when you pump it. Now they make mana. They fly too. Man, this is sweet.
What's next? Another Sliver.
Sure.
Could play Vial if he wants. He's got Collected Company in hand.
Negri needs to draw Maelstrom Pulse like right now.
Like yesterday. Drew a Woodleaf Leech.
Oh, you have a couple green and white creatures in play. That's a combo too. You can also go pumping.
It's a pump parade.
Yeah. I think Negri's just dead.
I think he might just be dead.
I think we're done.
Yeah, I don't know if he has any way out of this.
Well, he can't block and he can't kill anything, so he can attack for lethal or die. That's where we're at. I guess he can sack the Horizon Canopy, and if he draws an Abrupt Decay, then maybe he can stave off lethal. But it's gotten that dire.
It's a lot of damage, Kazu. It's a lot of damage. MVP, Gale Rider Sliver.
Claiming just another victim.
Yep.
You know, if Negri plays the Wiltleaf Leech, this is an attack for 8, Bowman's at 5, attacks for lethal. Voice of Resurgence gets him nowhere. Dark Blast is nonsense. So it's just good. I don't think there's anything other than Horizon Canopy, look for Abrupt Decay or some other removal spell, and hope to get another turn.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on.
Or hope that Bowman blocks here, but I don't think he's going to block.
And maybe even like Dark Blast to slow you down a little bit doesn't do very much. So time to untap, very quickly draw Will Bowman. He's got Collected Company in hand. I think he just drew another copy of Predatory Sliver, so that's good. Yep, Vigilance attack. For a lot. Gonna need to, yeah, cross the fingers.
Yeah,
here.
this is lethal, so it's got to be Abrupt Decay.
It's Noble Hierarch. Yeah, and that is going to do it. Adam Bowman is going to win this match here over Kazu Negri, 2-0. That's 12 wins for Slivers. And with any luck.
A round of applause, please, for Adam Bowman.
Yeah,
here.
it's hard not to.
Might miss on tiebreakers. 12-3 through this tournament. One of the losses, round 1, for showing up late. We had him on camera lose to Eric Hawkins. He lost a match off camera. But no matter how the tiebreakers shake out, this was an excellent run.
This was an impressive display.
And that draw there from Negri, he's on the play with Abrupt Decay for your Vial into Smiter, Siege Rhino with Wiltleaf Liege backup. And that wasn't even close.
No.
That wasn't even close to being good enough.
That was as one-sided as it gets.
And you know what? That's a draw right there that Negri had that I think would have easily beaten Merfolk in most games.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Harbinger of Tides and Tiebinder